Good morning and welcome to the driveway. There's nothing really worse than something that you've been waiting for showing up and then you have to wait 3 weeks to install it because your car decides to get stranded halfway across town, and that's pretty much what happened here. I drive hundreds of miles a week for my day job as a white-collar IT guy, and I listen to a lot of music in my car, so I want that music to sound good. In a previous video, we took all the speakers out of this car and most of the interior and replaced them with brand new speakers, which are the factory upgrade from Bimmertech and their Alpha series. And speakers are a mechanical thing. They move, and as such they wear out. So not only did we get a bump in quality, but replacing worn out old parts resulted in a huge increase in the sound quality. But now, with those way better speakers, it's really obvious that there are shortcomings in other areas of this car's audio system. Most notably when listening to songs that have usually pianos or like chimes sort of noises up in the upper registers. At moderate to loud volumes, I hear what's known as clipping, which is sort of a scratchy sound coming from my door speakers. First of all, that's bad for your speakers, but mostly it just sounds bad. So now we're going to replace something that's not a mechanical device, and I'm extremely excited about this. It is the AlphaOne amplifier. So let's get to it. I was excited to get in here because there's air conditioning, but then the air conditioning makes it hard to record. Lovely.
Let it air for a bit and then we can turn it down.
Okay, so unfortunately the one song that I can play on camera doesn't have the sort of noises that clip here, probably because it's not loudness max mixed. And if you know anything about loudness wars, you know what I'm talking about. So we're going to listen to some copyrighted music because Alec's going to be my second part on this. You might remember him from the we stuck $4,000 worth of car audio into a Scion TC, and also the Scion TC transmission go oopsie video. That one was far more recent. So we're going to listen to some more stuff so that the two of us can provide our input on how the new amplifier sounds. Honestly, listening to the Operation Dawnseeker song from MSR, it does sound really good. Like, it's very smooth and balanced in here, and I do like smooth and balanced. So I'm very interested to see how they're able to improve on this, but we're going to listen to some other tracks. And that was maximum volume there, and it was still listenable. So, and that's not moving with the windows up. So if you're like cruising down the highway with the windows down, the stock amp does struggle to keep up. It's porch swing unboxing time because the lighting outside is horrendous right now. We did listen to a few tracks. There was some pretty nasty amp clipping, primarily in the mids and highs. I noticed some sort of painful sibilance as well. The bass was good. The bass was smooth. Those under-seat subwoofers do a ridiculous job for how small they are. But let's take a look at what we get with the amp once we wait for the tightly fitting box to open. I mean, it's nice that they're this precise with the box, but that does take forever. It is an action. It's felt lined.
Felt was fancy.
Yeah, 10 for presentation, open for instructions. They're online, okay. we get a sticker, and then we have the amp itself and a foam holder. All right, now we've Jake versus packaging. Okay, so that's the amp. Appears to be fairly universal. I'm guessing this is a Class D amplifier, and then they've got a custom bracket that even says N90 on it. Remove before use. Oh, I'm guessing that's the foam. Remove the foam to, yeah. And then this will just bolt into our stock amp location. Looking around the unit here, we've got a whole bunch of Molex connectors here. Speaker outs, high-level inputs, system connector, remote, power and ground, which are, oh yeah, that's kind of nice. And then we also have optical in, line out, so you can add your own subwoofer, I assume. USB for programming, auto remote, and SCP Foundation, apparently. They've changed the branding, so I'm not sure if this is made by the same company that it was. On the bottom here, I can see through here, it says made in Germany. So it probably still is made by like it's a legit car audio company in Germany that I cannot remember the name of. And looking through forum posts, the guys behind this are actual SQL car audio guys who've done some amazing builds in the past. So I fully trust that they have not, you know, this isn't just white labeling something that's super cheap and putting it on a fancy bracket and going, here you go. It even comes pre-tuned for my car with delays and with time delays and per speaker optimization to make the listening experience as good as possible. And that's the really big thing that you can get with DSPs like this. Sure, having a, you know, 12-band equalizer for every single speaker in your car is really great for getting good frequency response, but the real money is making it so that no matter where a sound comes from, they're all hitting your ears at the exact same time. And then you can get an amazing soundstage because you're always going to be sitting in the same place in a car. Rant over. Wiring harness wrapped in tested tape. That's nice. Looks like we've got the connector that goes to the car here, and you've got the Molex connectors that go into the amp. And they sent me a keychain. Oh wait, hang on, we got more wires. So the manufacturer of this cable, Assman. It's an Assman mini USB cable. I will treasure it forever. Yeah, so then we have a remote wire. Looks like we have very nicely labeled heat shrink labeling remote in and out. And then we have a DIN plug. I am not sure why we have a DIN plug. This is the SCP connector, isn't it? Yeah. Even the keychain comes in a nice box that I also don't know how to open. Oh, it's magnetic. So you got, oh, that's
actually nice.
That's a lot cooler than I expected, actually. Really cool. I love that a lot. Like the satin finish and stuff. Yep. The magnets, though, how do they work? I have no idea. You guys should print instructions on here, like lift the flap, you idiot, because I'm just too stupid. Let's go throw this in the car. And I do literally mean throw this in the car. Come with me. The installation process takes like 5 seconds. Car! You'll notice that I removed the interior of the trunk. And the reason for that is because I never put the interior of the trunk back when we did the coilover swap like 8 months ago. So all this was just kind of sitting in here the entire time. I might actually put this all back together once we're done with this. But for now...
You know that's a lie, right?
Oh yeah, I should probably just like quickly go over. Yeah, so your plastic piece that goes here, take out all the fasteners. You can see there's also some plugs. You yeet that. The trunk carpet you just pull out, and that's super easy. This battery cover also just lifts out, so you know it's a quick disassemble interior, and then there's a bunch of push pins and you can get this out of the way. Okay, now you're all cut up. That's the amp. It's just a few 8 mils to get it out of here. Probably worth noting, I have the second level of stereo in these that these cars could have, which I think is called hi-fi. I don't remember. And so you see all these wires here for like the higher end stuff, but most people actually downgrade to hi-fi because it is the easiest one to upgrade. You know, you gotta go backwards to go forwards, I guess.
But I have a Bose in my car.
No one can ever agree if it's all highs, all lows, or no highs, no lows, because it turns out that it doesn't matter. Okay, so then we've got a connector here.
Oh, we're getting...
There we go.
Apparently we're getting toasty.
Yep, camera's overheating, I'm overheating. We got that in common. Yes, PL2 Hi-Fi, made by Lear, like the Jets. I think, therefore I am. Oh, do I need a 10 now? No. I have a complaint. Their instructions are fantastic when it comes to disassembling the car, but then when it comes to installing it, it just says bolt it to the bracket and put it in. And my IQ is slightly below room temperature, so I kind of struggle to figure it out. But as near as I can tell, there's a tab here and a notch here, and then there's a hole here and a bump here, And so if you work this tab underneath there and fit the tab in, it's good to go. And then you use that stock bolt to actually hold it down.
I hope to God you put the tab in correctly.
And then it just kind of wedges in there. So just gonna...
Not gonna lie, I'm kind of excited for this.
I'm very excited for this. Okay, it's in there.
Yes, sir.
And they say it should just work. Okay, I guess we'll... It gets louder.
Yeah,
that hurt.
Yeah, that was impressively loud.
I'm hearing things in the song I didn't hear before. Like there's that weird little
there's like a
plucking.
Yeah, there's like a little wispy kind of noise following it too.
And then there's like a doot 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 like plucking string sound in the background that I've never heard before in this song.
It's been a long night and I can feel your anger.
It fixed the balance.
Yeah, it did.
This car always had an issue with staging. But what I mean by that is I'm sitting here, I'm obviously closer to these speakers. And in this car, it always felt like I was sitting right next to some speakers, which of course I am, but that's not the illusion that I want when I'm listening to music. I want to feel like I'm getting the same sound to both of my ears. Speakers can't do much about that. It's all in the tuning somehow. Something in the tuning with time delays or something. The customer service for this product, and I got a review unit, so obviously I'm talking directly to them, but from what I've seen on forums, they have very excellent customer service and they are more than happy. Like I said, they're all nerds. They love this stuff and they will happily help you work out a tune for your car. Anyway, we're 34 seconds into the song, so let's keep going.
When the city of light is shrouded in the shadow, tomorrow brings another day of sorrow, but I can feel it anymore. But we could be fine to stay where we are now. No, but this game of running ends here and now.
So that's the install out of the way, and I've been using the amp for a few weeks now to really get a good idea of what it's like so I can give my opinions on it honestly. But first, I think we need to talk a little bit about what this thing does. There are 4 main functions of this device. I might think of more later, but firstly, it is an amplifier. It takes a small signal and makes it bigger so that you can hear it. Secondly, it allows for equalization, which is changing the way that different parts of the music are amplified. And third, it has time delay capabilities, which helps to align the sound within the car. And fourth, it has effects processing. And DSP stands for digital signal processor, so all of this stuff happens digitally, which means that it's repeatable and hello kitty. So let's go into how each of these different things actually sound and feel in a car. And I don't have the ears with microphones in them that let me accurately record how things sound in a car, and even then, who knows what device you're listening to. If you have headphones on, I might be able to simulate some of these effects. But to me, the biggest benefit that you get from a device like this is the time delay functionality. Now, BimmerTech sent this to me, and they'll send it to you as well, with a tune specific to your car if available. And what that does is it sets delays on each of the speakers so that the sound reaches your ears at the same time, because unlike a normal stereo where you're sitting roughly between a stereo set of speakers and the audio is hitting you at the same time, in a car you sit way closer to one speaker than all of the others. And some cars do a pretty good job minimizing this effect on their own, but my E92 has always been really bad in sounding like I am sitting right next to a speaker to my left. And I'd always, you know, I'd try to fade it to the right, but that isn't the same as a proper time delay. So what you're hearing right now is normal audio, and what you're hearing right now is audio where I've attempted to simulate the effect by adding an inverse delay to this audio signal. So this is kind of what it sounds like without proper time delay.
So I tried to do this demo artificially, but instead I'm just going to use my iPhone set to stereo record mode, and I'm going to see if I can capture the difference between time delays and no time delays. So first I'm going to load up the setting with no time delays. Okay, and we're going to play some music with the phone about where my head sits. The other thing I've did is what's called equalization. Audio is a spectrum of wavelengths of audio, and each of those different frequencies is going to be a different loudness due to the way the speakers respond, the way the amp responds, the way that different waves interact with each other. And people may choose to boost up the treble frequencies or to boost up the bass frequencies. This right here is the Harmon International audio curve for cars, and this is sort of a ideal target for letting a car stereo system accurately reproduce music the way that the artist intended it to be heard. It looks like there's a bump in the bass frequencies, and I assume this is because there's a lot of low-end frequencies in a moving car. You've got road noise and stuff, vibrations that the subwoofers are going to have to overpower, and then it rolls off a little bit at the top end, and I assume that this is probably because you kind of sit a little closer to those tweeters than you do at like your home theater or whatever, and they can be a bit harsh and bright. So with this in mind, I was able to plug in my laptop and download software that lets me interact with the DSP in the amplifier. And this is an Audio-Tech Fisher. Let's talk value for a minute. This amp is an Audio-Tech Fisher. Bimmertech probably bought them in bulk, got a discount, relabeled them, and then devised their own wiring harnesses to make it completely plug and play, their own bracket, and their own tunings. And then they sell it for a mere, I think, $45 more than you can buy the original Audio-Tech Fisher. So there's a lot of value here, and it's based around an extremely well-known and respected brand. So this is a quality thing objectively. Now, the tune they sent has a bit of a V-shaped character to it, and what this is this is sort of, a lot of audio equipment is tuned this way because a lot of people like the sound. It's also referred to as scooping the mids, where a lot of the frequencies in the middle are sort of recessed to allow the bass and the treble to shine through more. I wanted to hear the Harmon response curve as cleanly as possible, so I was actually able to go into the software, go into the second layer of equalizations, and I applied this curve on top of Bimmertech's curve, and this is the result. This is the result of a frequency sweep using my iPhone. Here's a graph of the response of the microphone in an iPhone 13. It's plus or minus 5 decibels pretty much the entire way, so accurate enough for my personal uses. And as you can see here, the dark blue is the curve that I measured. We have that nice bump in the bass, and then the treble just kind of rolls off on the top, and it is relatively flat throughout there. And my first thought when I listened to it was, wow, this is kind of boring. It does take some getting used to. It's very similar to the curve on my Sony reference headphones and stuff like that. But when you first hear it, you go, wow, it's kind of boring. But then the clarity and the additional details that you are missing in those middle frequencies kind of shines through, and you're really able to hear the music.
I also took a whole lot of bass out of Bimmertech's original tuning. This is definitely a matter of personal preference. A lot of my friends who've built high-end systems like this have a knob to adjust how much bass there is, because some songs you want it, some songs you don't, depending on how the song was mastered. My philosophy is that I want my system to be set up to sound good with any genre. YYZ by Rush, one of my favorite instrumentals of all time, sounds absolutely phenomenal in this thing. There are a lot of stereo effects that the time delay makes absolutely shine, especially the very beginning where there's sort of an orbiting triangle chime, and the drums especially. Oh my gosh, some of the drum fills sound so immersive with the Harmon curve applied. Now, they sounded good before, but just the snappiness of the snares is just next level. And of course, I've listened to a lot of metal, though it's a little harder to find metal that's actually been mastered really well. A lot of it's kind of a dry master, it's not great. Dubstep and electronic music, of course, is inherently sort of a U or V-shaped production, so you're going to have a lot more of the bass, treble, and not a whole lot going on in the middle. So of course, that all sounds absolutely great. So that's more or less what this thing is actually able to do for you. If you have a car that Bimmertech makes an amplifier for, I would make that my first upgrade. If your speakers aren't blown and there's nothing wrong with them, do the amp first, but be careful, because original speakers are not going to be able to handle as much power. And Bimmertech doesn't actually list the specs of the amp on their website, but I was able to go to Audio Tech Fishers and find them, so here they are. And that's a lot more power than the stock amp in, say, my BMW, so there's a pretty good chance you could blow your stock speakers if you push it too hard. But if you keep the volume levels to a sane amount, the time delay and equalization will make your stock speakers sound much better. Of course, if you're like me and you had blown, rattling, whatever speakers in your car, go ahead and replace those first and then come back to the amp later. But this made the single largest difference to the audio system in my car, and now it has me wanting to drop $1,000 on every other car that I spend any amount of time in to get the same effect. People think I'm crazy for spending this much on audio in my car, but I spend a lot of time driving and I really like music, so here we are.
Alright everyone, we're going to finish this video off on the iPhone in the car because, hilariously enough, my iPhone is the only camera I have that actually has decent stereo speakers. So I put the stock amp back in, and we're going to do a direct comparison between it and the new amp. And I've reset the new amp back to the tune as it was delivered from Bimmertech, because obviously the different settings and stuff are very subjective, and I figured that it would be more representative if I showed it to you guys as they tuned it. Me showing you my tuning was mostly just showing you how flexible these can be if you want to, but this comparison is going to be more representative of how the device will be delivered to you. So, and we're going to play some music that I have rights to be playing, and we'll see how these two sound. Man, that is good. I don't know how well that's going to come across in the video, but in person, man, that is good. The bass feels a lot less boomy, and this is with all the same speakers. This is with the upgraded Bimmertech speakers, and it still felt way boomier and way less present with the old amp. The clarity and the tightness of the bass was just so much improved with that upgraded amplifier. Definitely a big fan, and if you're a fan as well, check out the offers in the description in the pinned comment below. They have their Black Friday sale coming up. There's probably a code. I don't remember. I'm sitting in my car right now. It'll be on the screen, in the comment, and in the pinned comment, and in the description. Thanks for watching. and listening, I guess.